Hello Mamet friends, Anding here for a video where I will be going over how I was introduced to Tolkien. And this started actually way back in 2005 when I was actually in 6th grade. And there was a book report assignment at the time. I didn't like to read too much. I had recently started to like to read in late elementary school and had a few favorite authors, but really didn't like to read in general. But then The Hobbit came along, and that kind of changed things. And so in this book report, we were required to pick from a large list of books. I decided on The Hobbit, and that actually introduced me to Tolkien for the first time. Before that, I had not really known what Tolkien was or heard of anything about it. And my parents hadn't even heard anything about it. They weren't at all Tolkien fans in any way. But it was interesting to read through the book for the first time for sure. I absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorite books still to this day, and was definitely at the time and really got me interested in reading, and also showed me that a book report can actually be fun and writing can be fun in general. And that's actually what got me started into writing and starting to enjoy that. And I wouldn't be really enjoying it right away, but over the years I would definitely start to really get into writing and realize that I wanted to do something writing related for the rest of my life as a career. So it's kind of what led to that. And also, of course, just love Tolkien in general. So let me see here. Here is the actual book report, and it starts off with just vocab. As you can see, I got 100 on it, because how can you not get 100 on something like Tolkien? You got to get 100 on Tolkien stuff. And so a whole bunch of vocab. There's also a biography. I'm not really going to show any of that stuff, but I do want to read out a poem that is in here. This is called The Adventures of Bilbo Baggins. It's a poem that I wrote way back in 6th grade. So let's go ahead and get started here. Bilbo Baggins was a hobbit. He lived in a hole as happy as could be. One day all that changed when Thorn and company came for tea. They mounted up on ponies and went far, far away. Poor Bilbo was wet and hungry, but the dwarves said he had to stay. Bilbo fought off trolls and goblins and out-tricked a slimy creature. He was saved from wolves by eagles. Oh, how he loved their flying feature. Yeah, it's kind of corny, but it's creative. It's creative. The spiders in Mirkwood were gigantic and tricky. Bilbo was threatened by their perils. The wood elves captured all his friends. They had to escape in bobbing barrels. And if you're wondering why I use perils in this poem, it's because we had to use vocab words in our poem. I barely remember that. And that's why there's some extravagant wordage in here. At last they had reached their destination. Smaug was found sleeping on stolen treasure. The burglar had tried to figure out a way to regain their long-lost pleasure. When all was restored to the rightful owners, Bilbo headed for home. He found his belongings being auctioned off, but no longer would he roam. So that's my Hobbit poem from 6th grade. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I definitely enjoyed The Hobbit way back when I read it originally. If you have not yet read The Hobbit or anything Tolkien related, I highly recommend it even as an adult. I think that it is still very interesting. I actually reread through the entire book for the Hobbit films, and am amazed by how the book really sucks you into the world and just captures your imagination regardless of your age. And Tolkien just does such a great job of helping you to relate to Bilbo and then all these disasters. And Bilbo's still not really too relatable, but because all these things are happening to him, you definitely feel like you need to associate with him, because you feel like that he's the victim in the traveling with the dwarves. But all the dwarves are awesome too, and I know a lot of people who associate with Thorin or other people, and that's super awesome as well. The Hobbit is just such an awesome book. It's very quick, it keeps moving, and it's just a nice, fast read. If you're into it, you can read a lot really quickly just by being sucked into it. So, if you're interested in a good book to be reading, I recommend The Hobbit, if you have not yet. And even if you have, and it's been a while, you might want to go back and read it, and I think you might be surprised by how relevant it still is to your age range. So, Anyway, that's how I was introduced to Tolkien, was with The Hobbit due to a book report way back in 6th grade, and have loved Tolkien ever since, and also started to like writing back then, and got me to eventually get into journalism. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for more content.